For nearly 50 years, Voyager 1 has traveled farther from Earth than any machine we've ever built. It's a quiet wanderer, gliding through the dark of interstellar space, powered by decades-old technology, older than most household microwaves. But something extraordinary happened in 2025. The Age spacecraft began transmitting data back to Earth, yet the contents made no sense. The signal itself was legitimate, but the information it carried was incoherent. Some dismissed it as a glitch, the inevitable hiccup of aging electronics. Others, however, saw it as something more, a sign we may have been overlooking, a cosmic murmur suggesting that somewhere out there, something, or someone, was paying attention. Voyager 1 was launched by NASA in 1977 with no expectation that it would operate for this long, let alone become the most distant object ever created, by humans. Initially, its goal was modest, to explore the outer planets and send back the first close-up images of Jupiter and Saturn. That mission alone would have marked a major scientific triumph, but Voyager's journey didn't end there. Once it completed its planetary survey, NASA made a bold decision to send it even farther, beyond the edge of the solar system, past the heliosphere, the sun's protective magnetic bubble, and into deep interstellar space. Today, Voyager 1 drifts more than 24 billion kilometers from Earth. The distance is so immense that it takes nearly 23 hours for a radio signal to reach it, and another 23 hours for a response to arrive back. It now resides in a region no other probe has ever reached, far beyond the sun's influence. It's a technological relic from another era, yet still capable of whispering through the void. What makes Voyager 1's longevity even more remarkable is the simplicity of its design. Its onboard computer has just 68 kilobytes of memory, barely enough to store a single modern image. It saves data on magnetic tape and sends signals at speeds slower than dial-up modems from the 1990s. To keep it functioning, NASA has had to gradually power down nearly all non-essential systems. Over time, instruments were switched off one by one. Today, only 3 remain active. Each year, Voyager loses about 4 watts of power, and by 2030, it's likely that only a single instrument will remain operational. Eventually, silence will fall. But in 2022, just as the spacecraft appeared to be fading quietly into obscurity, something inexplicable occurred. Engineers at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory received a routine transmission from Voyager 1. ANSAP. Usual, the data took nearly a full day to arrive, but when it did, something was clearly wrong. The spacecraft's attitude articulation and control system, which ensures its antenna remains aimed precisely at Earth, was sending bizarre, unintelligible data. Not just inaccurate or distorted by distance, but completely incoherent. It was as though Voyager had started speaking in a language no one had taught it. According to the transmission, the spacecraft believed it was facing an impossible orientation, suggesting it had rotated or moved into a position that made no sense. Yet, oddly, the rest of the system seemed perfectly fine. The antenna was still locked on Earth, instruments were still collecting data, and power levels were stable. Everything appeared normal, except the system responsible for determining its position in space. For weeks, engineers puzzled over how such a precise malfunction could occur in complete isolation. Why now, after over 4 decades of flawless performance? Theories abounded, some plausible, others more speculative. Could it have been hit by cosmic radiation? Had its aging components finally broken down? Or, as some on the internet dared to imagine, had Voyager encountered something unfamiliar, something that tried to respond? NASA officially denied any signs of extraterrestrial interference. Still, the mystery persisted. Eventually, the team uncovered the cause: the attitude. Control system had begun rerouting its own data, but not randomly. It was transmitting through an onboard computer module that had been deactivated for decades. This behavior wasn't supposed to be possible. The module in question had long been marked as non-functional, yet somehow Voyager accessed it anyway. And when it did, the data became garbled, like trying to read a water-damaged letter that had also been set on fire. In response, NASA engineers sent new commands instructing Voyager to reroute data through a working system. Like magic, the signal cleared. Everything returned to normal, but the questions lingered. Why did the spacecraft suddenly choose to behave this way? Why access an obsolete system? And how was this even possible? Voyager 1 doesn't have artificial intelligence. It doesn't make decisions. It simply follows a sequence of instructions sent from Earth. And yet, in this instance, it did something no one had anticipated. If Voyager is truly alone out there, why is it starting to behave as though it's not? Long before it left the solar system, Voyager 1 was assigned a symbolic final task. Mounted on its frame is a 12-inch gold-plated disc, the Voyager Golden Record. Carefully curated by Carl Sagan and his colleagues, the record carries greetings in 55 languages, music ranging from Bach to Chuck Berry, and sounds of Earth, oceans, birds, laughter, and even a baby crying. It also includes diagrams of human DNA, a map of our solar system's location, and nude images of a man and woman. It is a message in a bottle flung into the vastness of space. However, some scientists, like Stephen Hawking, warned that such a gesture might be dangerous. If an advanced or hostile civilization were to find the record, they wouldn't just know we exist. They would know precisely where we are, what we look like, and how to reach us. We essentially provided a roadmap to Earth. And now, all these years later, the very spacecraft carrying that cosmic invitation has begun to act in strange, unexplainable ways, accessing dormant systems, altering its behavior, and breaking from its long-established pattern. NASA resolved the immediate issue, but the underlying cause remains a mystery. Could it really be just the result of aging hardware, or was something else at play? In the high-stakes world of space exploration, predictability is essential. Every component of Voyager 1 was engineered for reliability and precision. For nearly 5 decades, it performed exactly as expected, until it didn't. The 2025 anomaly, in which the spacecraft used a dead computer to transmit data, was a violation of every assumption built into its design. Even more unsettling, there was no command from Earth prompting the behavior. No backup plan involved using the inactive module. This wasn't a coding error. It was a behavioral anomaly. Imagine sitting at a NASA console watching signals from 15 billion miles away and realizing that the machine you've nurtured like a child is now doing things it was never programmed to do. The possibility of damage from cosmic radiation or gravitational anomalies exists, but the odds of a decommissioned module randomly reactivating and rerouting specific data without causing broader system failures are astronomically small. And yet, that's exactly what happened. After the event, engineers managed to restore normal operations. But something else emerged from the analysis. Voyager had been behaving oddly in subtle ways for some time. Tiny variations in signal timing, irregular electromagnetic interference, small fluctuations that, when seen individually, didn't trigger alarms, but taken together, suggested a broader pattern, a pattern that defied explanation. Could Voyager's ancient instruments be detecting phenomena we don't yet understand? Could its shift in behavior be a response, not a failure? Officially, NASA rejects these ideas. There is no evidence, they say, of alien interaction. But when a signal takes nearly a full day to reach us and another day to return, how much can we truly know in real time? The idea that Voyager 1 may have encountered something, whether physical, energetic, or even sentient, is captivating. But we must ask, are we projecting our hopes and fears onto this machine? Human history is filled with misinterpretations of the unknown. Thunder once meant angry gods. Comets were seen as omens. Are we simply repeating that cycle with Voyager? But what if it isn't just imagination? If the golden record was found by an intelligent civilization, they would immediately realize we aren't ready for direct contact. They would see that we lack the technology for real-time communication, that we can barely maintain contact with a machine we built 50 years ago. And if they didn't want to reveal themselves directly, what better way to engage than to subtly tamper with the messenger? Not to destroy it, just to alter it slightly, to make us notice. To make us wonder, what we call a glitch could in fact be a reply. Regardless of your belief, whether in alien life, machine failure, or mere coincidence, one fact remains. Voyager 1 has already accomplished something extraordinary, not just in terms of science or engineering, but in spirit. It represents our willingness to reach beyond ourselves, to send a message not for fame or power, but for understanding, for connection, for hope. Voyager 1 has shown that even our oldest machines can perform miracles. That technology built before the internet, before smartphones, before many of us were born, can still speak to us across the stars. Most importantly, it's proven that humanity is not afraid to ask the biggest questions. Are we alone? What else is out there? And what happens if something finally answers? Because sometimes the truth hides not in the loudest signal, but in the most easily overlooked. Voyager was never meant to last this long. It wasn't designed to leave the solar system, to endure cosmic radiation, or to hold our fascination for half a century. And yet it has.